topics covered under device management: device manager, process manager, network manager, functionality of Regedit, and Microsoft system configuration.
Device management. Device management is the process of managing the implementation, operation, and maintenance of a physical and virtual device. It is a broad term that includes various administrative tools and processes for the maintenance and upkeep of a computing, network, mobile, and/or virtual device. There are three categories of fundamentals of input and output devices, which are boot device, character device, and network device. The boot device are types of hardware containing or capable of reading the software needed to start a computer. Without this device, the machine cannot start, plain and simple. It also stores data in the fixed size blocks, each with its unique addresses. For example is the floppy disk. So a floppy disk drive is a small disk drive used in computers for data transfers, storage, and backup of small amounts of data, as well as installation of programs and driver updates. So the second, the fundamentals of input-output devices is the character device. It transmits or accepts a stream of characters, none of which can be addressed individually. Here is the example of character device, the keyboards and printers. So the third fundamental input and output devices is the network device. It is used for transmitting the data packets. It can transmit and receive wireless HART data and perform the basic function necessary to support network formation and maintenance. For example, in this picture, we have to switch to provide internet to the connected computers so that the computers are able to connect with the network. So in the next slide, we have the function of the device management. So the first function of the device management is to keep track of data, status, location, uses, etc. And the file system is term used to define a group of facilities. So ang first function gid sa device management kay para matrack ang atong data or ma-locate nato og dali ang atong mga data sa system. It enforces the predetermined policies and decides which process receives the device when and for how long. It improves the performance of specific devices. It monitors the status of every device, including printers, storage drivers, and other devices. It allocates and effectively deallocates the device. Deallocating differentiates the device at two levels. First is when an input and output command is issued and temporarily freed. The second level is when the job is completed and the device is permanently released. So there are three types of device, which are dedicated device is the one to ask at the time until the job releases them. And the second is shared device, when the variety of processes is being processed. And the virtual device is the hybrid of the two devices. Hybrid. So the meaning of hybrid is the combination of two devices, which are the dedicated device and the shared device. So in this slide is the features of device management. So the OS interacts with the device controllers via the device drivers while allocating the device to the multiple processes of executing on the system. Device drivers can also be thought of as system software programs that bridge processes and device controllers. And the device management function's other key job is to implement the API, or Application Programming Interface. Device drivers are software programs that allows an operating system to control the operation of numerous devices effectively. The device controller used in device management operations mainly contains three registers: command, status, and data.
Today I'm gonna discuss device manager. So what is device manager? Device manager is an extension of Microsoft Management Console that provide a central and organized view of all the Microsoft Windows recognized hardware installed in a computer. These are the example figures. So managing hardware devices. So number one, hard disk. This is the hard disk drive is the main and usually most substantial data storage hardware device in a computer. Number two is keyboard. So keyboard is a piece of computer hardware used to input text, characters, and other commands into a computer or similar device. Number three, USB devices. So USB port and cables are used to connect hardware such as printer, scanner, keyboard, mice, flash drives, and external hard drives. Number four are the sound card. So sound card is an expansion card that allows the computer to send audio information to an audio device like speaker or a pair of headset and etc. So these are the device manager availability. So number one is a Windows 10, Windows 11 rather, and Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Vista, and the last one is Windows XP. So there are five alternative ways to open the device manager. So how to access the device manager? Number one, search for the device manager in the start menu. Number two, access the device manager using the power user menu. And number three, open device manager using control panel. And then number four, open device manager with a run command. And then last last one, number five, open device manager in Windows settings. So these are the example figures of every uh, steps by step process of opening device manager. So figure 1, which is you search for the device manager in a search bar. Figure 2, which is you right click the start menu, and then figure 3 is accessing the device manager in the control panel. Figure 4 is by using uh, clicking the Windows plus R, then type the def de uh, vmgmt.msc, then click OK. Then the last part is go to settings, then uh, about, and then you can see the device manager there, or you can search into the search bar in the settings. Configure your system or update your drivers or disable something. There are some errors in the device manager. So these are the device manager errors. So device manager error codes are numerical codes accompanied by an error message that help you determine what kind of issue Windows is having with a piece of hardware. So uh, these are the list of device manager error codes. Now, so code 1, this device is not configured correctly. Then code 3, the driver for this device might be corrupted, or your system may be running low on memory or other resources, and so on. There's a lot of code errors and then solution of how to uh, mm, to solve your problem. So then these are I have an example of the device management error codes. So example, so I have this code 3. The device for this device might be corrupted, or your device or your system may be running low on memory or other resources. So these are the uh, figures of code 3 error. So solution, so check memory and system resources to open task manager. And then solution number 2, check virtual memory settings, open the setting properties dialog box, and then click the advanced tab, and then click settings in the performance area. So if these two processes are not up, uh, working, so you can try uninstall or reinstall the drivers that you are having trouble with. And then that's all for the report. So thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Ken Casey Absuliba and I'm going to report the File Manager. File Manager or File Browser is a computer program that provides a user interface to manage files and folders. The most common operation performed on file or group file includes creating, opening, renaming, copying, moving, deleting, and searching files, as well as modifying file attributes, properties, and file permission. Folders and files may be displayed in a hierarchical tree based on their directory structure. File transfer. Graphical File Manager may support copying and moving of files and destination directories. Files transfer progress and percentage size, name of the file currently being transferred, renaming, total number of files, numerical transfer rate, and graphical transfer rate. The ability to pause transfer files allows temporarily granting other software full sequential read access while allowing to resume later without having to restart the file transfer. File Manager common tasks: switching between views, finding your files, opening a file, copying a file, moving a file, moving a folder, deleting a file, selecting multiple files, and zipping file. Switching between views. It enables a variety of additional viewing options. Some views enlarge the icon and display windows, while others provide additional information about the file. To change the view of the Window Explorer, position your mouse on the drop-down arrow in the upper right corner of the Window Explorer window. A pop-up message displaying more options should display. Click the drop-down arrow to display the additional options available to you. This will bring you up to the listing of the views available. To select a view, click on it in the list. If you would like to preview what the view will look like, slide the selector arrow up or down to a view and see view change in the Windows Explorer window. You can then select a view by releasing the mouse button when the desired option is reached. Finding your files. There is a search box in the upper right corner of the Windows Explorer where you can type the keyword. The utility search the area you are currently looking. You can search the entire drive or a specific folder or group of subfolders. In our example, we type the keyword journals into the search box and the utility filtered the right pane to show only those folder and file that contains the word journal. You will see from the search box result that not the only was our journal folder returned, the individual journal Word documents were displayed as well. Additionally, there were other files on the C drive that happen to contain the word journal that don't have anything to do with our classwork. It may be tempting to delete or move files that you don't recognize, but it is important that you don't do that. The files could be necessary to keep your computer functioning properly. Opening file. Window Explorer can be used to open files that is saved on our computer or other storage media. In order for a file to open, however, an application that can read the file must be installed on the computer. The example demonstration of three files, two of which have an associated program installed on the computer. We can tell from the image that the assignment 2 file is a Microsoft Word document. The data chart for assignment 2 file is an Excel spreadsheet, and the project plan FMP file is not associated with any program that is installed on the computer. In this case, the file is a Microsoft project file. To open a file, the data charts for assignment 2 spreadsheet, you would double click on the icon. This will first launch Microsoft Excel and then open the spreadsheet. Copying a file or folder. A copy of file or folder is frequently required for backup, sharing, or portability. This task is simply to complete using Windows Explorer. The copying process will keep the original file or folder in its current location while creating a duplicate in a new location. The duplicate is created when the copy is pasted, resulting in two files or folders that typically exist in a different location. Below are steps you would use to copy and paste in Windows Explorer. In example, we will be copying our June 2013 journal file from the hard drive of the computer C and pasting it in a removable flash drive, the F drive. Moving a file. Moving a file or folder is a very similar process to copying rather than leaving the original file in its current location. The file is copied to the clipboard and then pasted to the new location. This produces only and rather than duplicates as in the copy process. The only difference between copy and move is the option that is chosen from the shortcut menu after you right click. Rather than choosing copy, you will be choosing cut. Deleting a file or folder, removing unnecessary files from the folder, anang mga wala na gamit. Selecting multiple files. Selecting multiple files or folders can be selected in Windows Explorer. You might want to do this to remove or copy multiple items at once rather than one at a time. You can also delete multiple items at once. Selecting items necessities that use both keyboard and the mouse. There are two ways to select multiple items. You can either select items that are adjacent to each other in the Windows Explorer listing using the Shift key on the keyboard, or select non-adjacent items for the Windows Explorer listing using Control key. Zipping or compressing file is a common file format that's used to compress and one or more files together in a single location. This reduces the file size and makes it easier to transport or store. A recipient can unzip or extract a zip file after transport and use the file in the original format. We discovered that zipping is the process of compressing a folder containing multiple files into a single file called compress or zip. Aside from combining multiple files into one, zip files typically take up less storage space. Knowing how to zip files is particularly useful when you need to send multiple files to someone. Version. File 16-bit OS 2 Windows 3x1. File Manager was introduced OS to version 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 with the first version released in 1988. It was initially called File System OS and the name of executable was PM File X. The original version of File Manager was 16-bit program that supported the 8.3 file names that were in the use at the time. It did not support the extended file names that become available in Windows 95, excluding long file names containing space. Instead, it would only display the first 6 characters followed by tilde character. This one, the below the, and a number, usually 1 more or 2 to 3, so on, were added after the tilde if more than one file name and the same initial character existed in the same directories. The 16-bit version of File Manager was introduced into the Windows operating system, starting Windows 3.0 in the 1990. In the 16th version distributed with uh, Windows 3.1, the Windows Workshop installation of Y2K issue due to lexicographic correlation between date representation and the character set. File Manager was written as a 32-bit program for Windows NT, known as New Technology. This new version correctly handled long file names in addition to file system. It was included with Windows New Technology. The Windows NT 3.1, Windows 35, 3.51, and Windows 4.0. The 3.1 first version of Windows for workgroups 3.1 was released on October 27, 1992. Codename Winball and Sparta. It allows users to share files, use print servers, and chat online. Files could be accessed from other machines that run either Windows or DOS. Windows NT 3.5. Windows NT 3.5 included remote access service for remote dial-up modern access to LAN services using either SLIP or PPP protocol. Other new features in Windows NT 3.1 included VFAT, the ability to use long file names up to 255 characters, and support for I/O completion ports. It features a new startup screen. Windows NT 3.51. New features introduced in Windows NT 3.51 include PCMCIA support and NTFS file compression, replaceable 3D support in OpenGL, persistent IP routes when using TCP and IP, automatically display of textual description when the mouse or pointer was placed on toolbar buttons, and support for Windows 95 common controls. Windows NT 4.0, the successor to Windows NT New Technology 3.51. Windows New Technology 4.1 introduced the user interface of Windows 95 to the Windows NT family, including the Windows Shell File Explorer and the use of My nomenclature for shell folders. Microsoft Plus has improved various features in Windows NT 4.0, such as Space Cadet Pinball Machine, font smoothing, showing window content when dragging high color icons, and stretching wallpapers to match the screen. In addition, on a Windows 10, Microsoft released binaries in the source code license under MIT license for an improved version of File Manager able to run on Windows 10. This version included such as ability to compile modern version of a Visual Studio, the ability to compile as a 64-bit application, and numerous usability improvement. File Manager for Microsoft Windows. Explorer++, File Explorer, Fman, Midnight Commander, MS, DOS Executive, SC Explorer, and Tables. Explorer++, open source navigational file for Microsoft Windows. It features multi-tab panes, bookmarks, menu, and a customizable user interface. It can be configured to run portable or use registry. It can also be set to replace Windows Explorer as a default file manager. File Explorer is a file manager application that include with release of the Microsoft Windows operating system from Windows 95 onwards. It provides a graphical user interface for accessing the file system. It is also the components of the operating system that present many user interface items on the screen, such as the taskbar and desktop. Fman. Fman is a dual-pane file manager for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. It is extensible, supporting custom plugins for customization. Midnight Commander. GNU Midnight Commander, also known as MC. The command used to start it, and the mouseless commander in older version is a free cross-platform orthodox file manager. MS-DOS Executive. The first public demonstration of Windows in 1983 had a simplistic shell called the Session Control Layer, which served as a constantly visible menu at the bottom of the screen. Clicking on a run would display a list of programs that could launch, and clicking on Session Control would display a list of programs already running, so one could switch between them. SE Explorer is a freeware portable file manager for Windows which can be used as alternative to Windows Explorer. It is a GUI-based application with tab interface which made it possible to manipulate more than one directory or file view at a time, and it has both files manager, orthodox two-paneled manager with two files windows side by side, and Network Explorer emulator. Tables is a file tagging application in a relation file manager for Windows which is used to organize contents. It can tag any file type in any file system locally or over a network. Window File Manager. File Manager or Window File Manager program bundled with the release of OS version 2 in a Microsoft Windows between 1988 and 1999. It is a single instant graphical interface replacing the command line interface of MS-DOS to manage file copy, move, open, delete, and search. In our next topic, we're going to talk about Process Manager. Process can be thought as a program in execution. A process will need a certain resources such as CPU time, memory files, and I/O devices to accomplish its task. These resources are allocated to the process either when it is created or while it is executing. A process is a unit of work in most systems. System consists of a collection of processes. Operating system process system code, and user processes execute user code. The operating system is responsible for each following activities in connection with process and thread management: the creation and deletion of both user and system processes, the scheduling of processes, the provisional mechanism of synchronization, and communication. There are four types of process concept: the process state, process control block, and threads. In process scheduling, there are scheduling queues, schedulers, and context switch. In operating processes, there's only one, the process creation. The objectives of the objectives of manager is to introduce the notion of a process program in execution that forms the basis of all computation, to describe the various features of processes, including scheduling, creation, and termination, and communication, to describe communication in a client-server system. The process. A process is a piece of software code, also referred to as the text part, the process stack, which includes transient data such as data section that includes global variables, function, parameters, return addresses, and local variables. Process state. As a process executes, it changes state. The state of a process is defined in part by the current activity of the process. Each process may be one of the following states: the new, the process is being created; running, instructions are being executed; waiting, the process is waiting for some event to occur, such as I/O completion or reception of a signal. Ready, the process is waiting to be assigned to a processor. Terminated, the process has finished execution. The PCB, known as process control block. Process control block contains many pieces of information associated with a specific process. Process state, program counter, CPU register, CPU schedule information, memory management information, accounting information, IO status information. Next is threads. The threads within a process share all process management information except for information directly related to execution. Threads is a process can execute different part of the program code at the same time. They can also execute the same part of the code at the same time but with different execution state. They have independent code instruction, that is, they have independent program counters. They are working with different data, they're working with independent register. Process scheduling. Process scheduling Our scheduler selects an available process possible from a set of several available processes for a program execution on a GPU. Scheduling queues. Each process state has its own queues in the OS, and PCBs from all processes in the same execution state are put in a very same queue. Job queue. This queue keeps all the processes in the system. Ready queue. This queue keeps a set of all processes residing in the main memory ready and waiting to execute. Device queue. The processes which are blocked due to unavailability of an I/O device constitute this queue. Next is scheduler. A process migrates among the various scheduling queues throughout its lifetime. The operating system must select for scheduling purposes processes from these queues in some fashion. The selection process is carried out by the appropriate scheduler. Context switch. A system must save the current context of the CPU running process when an interrupt happens so that it can restore it after process is complete, effectively suspending and then restarting the process. Process creation. The creating process is called a parent process, and the new processes are called the children of the process. Each of these new processes may, in turn, create other processes, forming a tree of processes. Just to summarize the process manager, a process is a program in execution. As a process executes, it changes state. The state of a process is defined by the process current activity. Each process may be one of the following states: new, ready, running, waiting, or exterminated. Each process is represented in the operating system by its own process control block. A process, when it's not executing, is placed in some waiting queue. There are two major classes of queues in an operating system: the I/O request queues and the ready queue. The ready queue contains all the processes that are ready to execute and are waiting for the CPU. Each process is represented by a PCB, and a PCB can be linked together to form a ready queue. Long-term job scheduling is the selection of processes that will be allowed to contain for the CPU. Normally, long-term scheduling is heavily influenced by resource allocation considerations, especially memory management. Short-term CPU scheduling is the selection of one processes from the ready queue. Operating system must provide a mechanism for a parent process to create new child processes. The parent may wait for its children to terminate before proceeding, or the parent and children may execute concurrently. There are several reasons for allowing concurrent execution: information sharing, computation speed up, modularity, and convenience. The process executing in the operating system may be other independent processes or cooperating processes. Cooperating processes require an process communication mechanism to communicate with each other. Pre- Communication is achieved through two schemes, shared memory and message passing. The shared memory method requires communicating processes to share some variables. The processes are expected to exchange information through the use of these shared variables. In shared memory system, the responsibility for providing communication rests with the application programmer. The operating system needs to provide only the shared memory. The message passing method allows the processes to exchange messages. The responsibility for providing communication may rest with the operating system itself. These two schemes are not mutually exclusive and can be used simultaneously within a single operating system.
Network Manager. Network Manager is a system network services that manages your network devices and connections and attempts to keep network connectivity active when available. It manages internet, Wi-Fi, mobile broadband, and devices while also providing VPN integration with variety of different VPN services. What Network Manager offers? The Network Manager project offers a wide range of features and most, but not all of them are available in the Snap package at the moment. Currently, they provide support of the following high-level features is a Wi-Fi connectivity, WWAN connectivity together with the modem manager, internet connectivity, Wi-Fi access point creation, shared connections, and the currently that did not support is the following features is VPN. How does a network management system do its job? Network manager systems collect data from connected network devices such as switches, routers, access points, and the client devices. They also give network administrators fine-grained control over how those devices operate and interact with one another. The data captured from these devices is used to proactively and identify NIA and performance issues, monitoring, security, and segmentations, and ang accelerate troubleshooting. What kind of devices can a network management system control? Many network management platforms started as a way to control LANs. As enterprise network increased in complexity and diversity, these management planes rather extended their capabilities into SDWAN security and LOT. Ang pinaka-effective na platform is combine sa devices o sensors that can make a single view of a network traffic that IT teams makes easy dili lang for monitoring but also to protect and remediate performance issues. How do network elements send data to the system? Network management systems collect a real-time data from network elements such as switches, routers, and access points, as well as from the endpoint devices such as mobile phones, laptops, and desktops. This information is issued to provide insights into the health of a network. The data is collected and sent to the system in one of two ways. One is the SNP, or the Simple Network Management Protocol. Is an open standard and has been widely supported by most manufacturers of network elements since early 1990s. NSNP, each element in the network sends its response to the network's management system. Second is the streaming telemetry. A software agent installed in a network elements allows for the automatic transmission of key performance indicators in real time. Streaming telemetry is rapidly replacing SNP kaya it's more efficient and makaprovide siya og many data points more sa SNP and it's more scalable. And telemetry standards such as Netcon are gaining traction as way to offer and do the same multi-vendor support as SNP. What are the most important networks management capabilities? When it comes to managing a complex or highly distributed network, The three most critical capabilities of a network management tool are directly tied to how well the platform unifies sites and remote workers. First, ease of adaptation and deployment directly affects the value that IT teams will get from the tool. There's an adage of a software as a services. Adoption is a new ROI, and the same is true for network management. If it's not easy to deploy and use only a daily basis, it will quickly fall by the way aside. Is also to find a platform that can make a full scope of network from access to one to LOT network. One or WAN, wide area network, LOT is a license on transfer. And finally, the security control treatment of network data must have equal priority no matter how choose to deploy. What are the top myths of the network management system? Network becomes more complicated as the number of devices and applications connected them to grows. But a complicated network doesn't require a complicated to use network management system. Today's network management systems are open, extensible, and software driven to help accumulate and simplify network operations while lowering costs and reducing risk. It is powered by deep intelligence and integrated security. Ang system is ga-deliver automations and assurance across the entire network, mapadako man siya or gamay, resulting in better efficiency and maka-cost savings pa siya while ga-offer end-to-end visibility, automations, and insights. Open IPIS is a standard such as OpenConfig means ang user is naka-optimize sa ilang networks while solutions that best fit their business objectives. How can network management system meet the demands of hybrid work? In today's hybrid work environment, organizations face a variety of new challenges. The challenges include high distributed and mobile workforce, and an inconsistent range of quality connectivity options, and need to rapidly implement tools for collaboration, support, and business continuity. In turn, ang network management systems need to be agile with a built-in intelligence and automations to facilitate decisions making para ma-reduce ang error. Security must have inherent and prioritized to help na ma-secure that ang networks and the devices connected sa ila are secure from the core to the edge. Operational models from network management systems. One is the cloud-based, which is focused to agility, flexibility, and scalability. Next one is the on-premises, focuses on the higher performance and scalability. Network Manager features includes the following: manage modern complex networks. It installs and visualize complex networks containing a wide range of network type devices, such as routers and switches, and using network protocol such as MPLS, BGP, and OSPF, and technologies such as RAN, LTE, and Wi-Fi access. View the network in multiple ways. Include standards and customized device groupings such as subnets, VLANs, and VPNs. You can also navigate the interface and other components of a device using structured browsers. Multi-widget views enable you to show simultaneously topology, maps, and events list. Next one is the apply ready-to-use device and interface polling capabilities. It provides a set ready-to-use device and interface polls, including ICMP and MIB variable polls. You can also customize network polling so that events are received when are violated on any MIB variables on your network devices. Leverage built-in root cause analysis capabilities. Network Manager sorts through multiple network events and uses knowledge of network topology to determine the single root cause events of each incident in real time. Troubleshoot network problems using right-click tools and topology search. It provides a set of ready-to-use right-click tools to enable operators to troubleshoot network devices. For example, you can perform diagnostic actions such as ping Using the map search, you can quickly identify an entity within map using partial identifier. Generate feature network visualization and event data. You can use the discovery to retrieve the stored data about the discovered devices from third-party resources. You can also enrich network events with any topology data retrieved by the discovery process. For example, standard network events on devices interfaces that originate from the traps show the interface index only. Discover increasingly bigger network. Network Manager can discover and manage increasingly bigger networks. Run reports to retrieve essentials network data. Can also reports to retrieve a wide range of network data, including data on a network availability, network access, and network technology. Built-in custom multi-widget pages. You can build pages that contain any combination of data. For example, you can combine topology map with device structures, views, and event list. You can also combine discovery status information with event list that can show custom discovery events to create your own custom web-based search engine. What is the new in this release? Network Manager Volume 4.2 provided new features and enhancements that include the following areas: enhanced upgrade and migration process, enhanced GUI framework that makes use of dashboard applications, services hub features, enhanced search and zoom network visualization features, enhanced GUI responsiveness due to the removal of applet technology, and the ability to aggregate the store significantly more amounts of historical poll data and display this data directly from the network's GUIs. User of IBM Insights are also able to access the network health dashboard, which provides new capabilities or monitoring the troubleshooting for the network. This is under the Network Manager architecture. Architecture can be provided into three layers: network layer, data layer, and visualization layer. Next one is the Network Data Manager flow. Use this information to understand how the components of a network manager fit together. Network layers that consist of network discovery, polling tools, data layer. The data layer is consists of topology storage, event storage, performance storage, reporting storage, and root cause analysis tools. Visualization layer. This layer consists of topology visualization and event of visualization tools. Dashboard Application Hub. The Dashboard Application Services Hub is the application that runs GUI from different products.
Good day. I am Kate Nicole Q Magpulong and I'm going to discuss to you about functionality of Regedit. So, in this topic, for users of the Windows operating system, of course, you are familiar with the term Regedit or Registry Editor. Registry in the Windows operating system is an operating system with centralized data features arranged hierarchically. So let us understand first what is Regedit. So, Regedit is a standard file on the Windows operating system which can be run to open the internal register editor. By running Regedit, you can view and change some of the Windows Register Data Center data. However, this cannot be done carelessly. The reason is there are several command codes that you should know to be able to use the existing functions in Regedit. And Regedit is visually has the same appearance as Windows Explorer. Apart from that, the operation is very similar to Microsoft File Manager. So, the next one is the Regedit function. What is Regedit function? Regedit has an important function in the Windows operating system, and here are some of them. The central operating system, the running software or hardware, configure both software and hardware, and the improve the operating system. So let us define this one by one. So central operating system is the primary function of Regedit is to centralize the operating system. This operating system center controls the programs run by the computer. That is why the registry including Regedit has an essential function in the operating system. Edit errors in the registry can be fatal in the operation of your computer. This can cause crashes that require reinstallation. And the second one is running software and hardware. The registry contains various data and memory needed so that software and hardware can work properly and optimally. This is also why you shouldn't make a mistake in entering commands in the Regedit function. The next one is configure both software and hardware. Suppose you want to increase the software's resolution, increase the volume, make display brighter, and various other software and hardware settings. In that case, you can do it via the Regedit function. This is known as performing a hardware or software configuration. And the last one is improve the operating system. As explained in some previous points, the Regedit function sets up and configure the operating system. This can make the operating system run better and faster. The next one, let us understand how to run Regedit. There are two ways can be done in this function, namely as follows: using the search box and using the start menu. So using the search box, to open the Regedit window, using the search box, you can start by clicking the start menu. Next, in the search box, type registry editor, then press enter. In this way, the Regedit window will appear on your computer screen. Using the Run menu, you can press Windows plus R. The Windows key is usually in the lower left corner of your keyboard, a button with a Windows symbol. After the Run menu appears, type Regedit and then press the Enter key. Once you are in the Regedit window, remember to be careful about changing whatever is there because as explained earlier, wrong edits will not be reversed. This means that you will have trouble repairing it as before, and sometimes it can be fatal to your computer or laptop. When is Regedit needed? Regedit function is not very important when you use a computer or laptop for standard purposes. For example, you only using the office or enjoying light entertainment such as listening to songs, watching movies, or playing light games. Regedit is generally only needed by middle to upper level computer users who need high-level software or hardware. They usually will need a configuration so that the hardware and software they use can work optimally and smoothly. So these are the things to look for when operating Regedit. As has been repeated explained above in the previous slides, the slightest mistake in operating or modifying Regedit can be fatal. Therefore, you should pay attention to the following important points when operating with Regedit. The first one is knowing exactly which directory it to edit and what registry will be changed. Understand what will happen when you edit the registry. Be thorough when making edits. And the last one, it does not operate with Regedit unless it is very urgent, given that a slight error can be fatal. So, that was some information about functions and understanding Regedit. And how to open Regedit, it's important to remember that this is an operation requires expertise. Therefore, you should not try without understanding because it can crash your computer or laptop and need to be reinstalled. And the next topic that I will discuss and the last discussion is all about Microsoft system configuration. So, what is Microsoft system configuration or misconfig? Microsoft system configuration or misconfig tool is a Microsoft software application used to change configuration settings, such as which software opens with Windows. And it contains several tabs: general, general, boot, services, startup, and tools. This document explains how you can use these tabs to resolve problems with your computer. So let us see the first useful tabs and the general tab of the misconfig window. So there are two for troubleshooting purposes. You can either prevent all non-essential software and prevent preventing services from loading, or you can prevent individual programs from loading. So let us see the steps how to prevent all non-essential software and services from loading. So this is the step. The first step is to click the General tab. Select Selective Startup and deselect Load Startup items. So you may see at the figure deselecting Load Startup items. And the third step is the click the Services tab. Then select Hide all Microsoft services so they will not be disabled, and then click Disable All to disable the remaining items on the Services tab. You will see at the figure 3 Services tab. And the fourth step is restart the computer for the changes to take effect. So if you find the problem no longer occurs after you prevent all software from loading, you can use the Startup tab to try to find the exact software title that is causing the problem. Select all but one title from the Startup tab and restart. Continue doing this, deselecting software and restarting each time until the problem no longer occurs. When you determine which software is causing the issue, uninstall it or prevent it from loading when Windows opens. And the last step is when you have finished using the system configuration tool, open it again and select Normal Startup and click OK. And then, preventing individual programs from loading. Use the General tab to prevent specific software applications from opening with Windows. The following selections are on the General tab. And this is the normal startup, diagnostic startup, and selective startup. So let us see what is normal startup. It instructs Windows to open all software applications that are normally scheduled to start with Windows. Diagnostic startup starts Windows with basic services and drivers only. With this mode, you can determine if a basic window file is the problem. Selective Startup allows you to choose which programs and services you want to open and which you want to keep from opening at Startup tab. So, this is the figure. The next one of the useful tab is the boot tab of misconfig window. The boot tab is used to change the way Windows starts. The option in the boot tab show configuration option listed inside the system information file. And these are the some options in the boot tab are Safe Boot Minimal, Safe Boot Alternate Shell, Safe Boot Active Directory Repair, Safe Boot Network, No GUI Boot. So let us first define these 5 boot tab options. Safe Boot Minimal is disables networking. Boots to the Windows user interface or Explorer in safe mode running critical system services only. And the next one is disables networking also. Boots to command prompt in safe mode running critical system services only. The next one is similar to minimal safe boot, except the Active Directory is enabled. Safe Boot Network, similar to minimal safe boot, except the network is enabled. No GUI boot. The Windows splash screen is disabled when booting. And the next one is bootlog. Base video, OS boot information, make all boot settings permanent, and timeout field. So let us see what is bootlog. Bootlog stores all information from the boot process in a file. Base video boots to Windows users interface in minimal VGA mode. OS boot information shows each driver name as each driver is loaded during the boot process. Make all settings permanent. Changes made in a system configuration are not tracked. If you want to make changes later, you will have to do so manually. Selecting Normal Startup in the General tab does not work if this feature is selected. So you must know this. The last one is Timeout field. Using misconfig can cause the operating system selection screen to display for 30 seconds. As a result, 30 seconds is added to the overall startup time. To prevent the operating selection screen from appearing for 30 seconds on startup, change the timeout line in the timeout field to 0. So, you will see at the boot tab figure, the timeout is 30 seconds, then you will change it, the timeout line in the timeout field to 0. The 30 seconds you will make it 0. And the next tab is services. The services tab list integrated Windows services and programs that start when Windows 8 starts or are run periodically by Windows. Be careful when disabling services as many are critical to the computer's operation. Enable or disable programs or services from starting by checking or disabling the checkbox next to program name. So, you will see at the services tab, you should start by checking or disabling the checkbox next to the program name. And the next tab is Startup tab of misconfig window. On the Startup tab, click Open Task Manager. The Startup table lists software that opens automatically when Windows loads. They use this tab to prevent individual software from opening when Windows starts. This can be very useful when trying to find the software programs that might be causing performance problem. You will see the Startup tab. Open the Task Manager first. Then click OK. So these are the following list of some of the types of software application that open from the Task Manager. These are the list you can see when you open the Task Manager. The first one is the antivirus software. The second one is the keyboard manager. And the last one is system tray icons. So let us define this one by one. Antivirus software is disable antivirus software only when troubleshooting. Make sure to enable the antivirus software when finished troubleshooting. Keyboard managers disable to prevent the extended multimedia keys and volume control knob from working. System tray icons disable to prevent a software application tray icon from displaying on the system tray next to the time. The Startup tab of the Task Manager shows a list of current software applications that open automatically after Windows opens and shows the status of each program. Disable individual software applications by highlighting the application and clicking Disable. Note, this is a note. Do not disable the following startup items except for diagnostic purposes only. And this is the following startup items: HD audio control panel, HP key BDEXE, HP digital imaging, HP all-in-one series, HP Run, HP SYS DRV, HP Total Care Advisor, Microsoft Windows Operating System, NVIDIA products, and Semantic Technologies products. So these are the items to not be disabled. The next one is the tools tab of the misconfig. The tools tab lists diagnostic tools and other advanced tools you can run to improve computer performance. Before opening a tool, read the description first, next to the name of the tool to better understand the function it provides. To open a tool, select the name of the tool from the list and click Launch. This one you will see at the Tools tab. So that's all for my topic. Thank you and God bless.